This episode we'll be travelling from Longreach up to Matilda Highway to just short of Winton, where we'll turn left and go and have a look at the Australian Age of Dinosaur Museum and the dinosaur display. Then we'll come back out and then go on to Winton for the night. The distance is about 175 kilometres. There's really nothing in between. The road to the Australian Age of Dinosaur Museum is about 10 kilometres southeast of Winton on the Longreach Road. This region is underlain by the Winton Formation, a Cretaceous era sedimentary rock formation, which features isolated mesas and ranges called jump-ups in the local parlance. During the Cretaceous period, 145 to 66 million years ago, Australia was a continent attached to Antarctica and other land masses as part of Gondwana, featuring warm, humid climates, rising global sea levels, and extensive shallow inland seas like the Eromanga Sea. Diverse dinosaurs and large marine reptiles like plesiosaurs and ichthyosaurs thrived, with mammals and the first flowering plants. 66 million years ago, a climactic event saw the demise of the dinosaurs. We are now travelling over the ancient eroded seabed of the Eromanga Sea. This sea inundated about a third of the Australian continent from the Gulf of Carpentaria. The Eromanga Sea reached into northern New South Wales, the northeast corner of South Australia, into the Northern Territory, and over much of Queensland. There were at least 4 and possibly 7 inundations in the early Cretaceous period. These inundations created the Great Artesian Basin that we know today. This general area is known as the Dinosaur Trail and takes in the towns of Winton, Richmond and Winton. It is very rich in dinosaur fossils. In the last 20 years or so, the story of dinosaurs in Australia has been rewritten due to so many world-class discoveries. The Winton area is known for its land-based dinosaurs, famous for its marine reptiles. The jump-up was donated to the museum by a local grazier. This dino is life-sized and not looking very friendly. On an earlier dig I found a number of claws from a similar theropod. Considering that the claws have been buried to 90 million years plus, they were in remarkable condition.
They would eat just about anything that they were able to reach. Because he actually is a juvenile. So this is our child dinosaur. We can tell that Oliver is a juvenile because his vertebrae, or backbone, which are located in the far corner of this cabinet, haven't that these would have been good at gripping onto things that were a bit slippery. From his skull, we can tell that those teeth would have zippered together.
Try and count the bones in this paddle.
Look at our older stuff first, and we'll work through in chronological order until we get to the newer things. Sometimes though, we might come across something that we think could be particularly interesting, have bits of air throughout them. When we place that paraloid over the bone, it seeps in. The acetone will then evaporate, allowing the resin to harden again. When the resin hardens, that stabilizes the bones, and those have actually been stabilized enough that it's safe to touch them. So feel free to come and touch those now. You're welcome to do that while I'm talking about the research corner if you think you can multitask. Otherwise, there'll be a few minutes of free time at the end to come back and touch them as well. So down at this end of the lab, this is what we call our research corner. And we've got Prepper Dino. Now there are two important requirements if you would like to be part of Prepper Dino. You must be aged 12 years or older, and you must be able to colour in between the lines. You can do those two things so you can learn how to prep dinosaur fossils. So preppers can come in for anywhere from just a day or two to get a feel of what it's like to work with these fossils, right up to doing a full 10-day course. At the end of that 10-day course, you can become an honorary technician. Our honorary technicians can come back as often as they would like, as long as we've got something for you to work on and somewhere for you to sit down. So now I do have to warn you though, if you are interested in learning how to prep these fossils, this can become incredibly addictive. Many of our preppers are repeat offenders. Some of these guys come back year after year because they are having just so much fun working with these fossils. Now the buzzing sound we've been hearing all afternoon, it's not mosquitoes and it's not the dentist. What it is the air tools that our preppers are using. One of the main types of tools that our preppers use is something called a microjet.
We are now on the train to the March of the Titanosaurs exhibition.
Guys, I want to see your next floor. I want to see a little bit of the
These trackways were discovered in 2000 by local grazer when, after serious flooding, Snake Creek changed course and exposed a rock shelf. In 2018, the entire trackway was excavated and moved to this purpose-built exhibition point at the jump up. The tracks were preserved in rock bands 100 to 300 millimeters deep. There were tracks from sauropods, turtles, crocodiles, small theropods, and marks from lungfish.
Exactly. It's Australia's natural history.
Note the odd paddles on the end of the tails. Massive titanosaurs. Note the unusual shaped nails. Left to see the small pterosaurs perched on the rock. These three armoured herbivorous Carnivorosaurus dinosaurs are from 102 to 104 million years old. They were discovered between Richmond and Winton in an excellent state of preservation. This scatter recreates a stampede of small dinosaurs being chased by a carnivorous theropod. Cycads, conifers and ginkgos have been planted to recreate the environment from 95 million years ago. Four bores, all around 1.2 kilometres deep, tap into the Great Artesian Basin for Winton's water supply. Emerging at a temperature of 83 degrees Celsius, it is cooled to 44 degrees Celsius in cooling dams before being reticulated into the town supply. Because the Great Artesian Basin is rich in minerals and hydrogen sulfide gas, the water arises with a distinct smell. Winton has its own date plantation, and more about this shortly. This building shows human ingenuity present in the outback. It is made from an old stock crate. Ingenuity is necessary as materials are often hard to come by and can be expensive because of distance. At the back is the plantation with something like 12 varieties of dates in 14 rows.
And out the back of it, they park these sort of well-used sheep crates, cattle and sheep crates.
Dates originated in the Middle East in countries such as Morocco, Iran, Iraq, Oman, Saudi Arabia and more.
So they don't look terribly like probably some of the dates you see in the shops.
Yeah. So these are Iraqi, right?
This one's an Iraqi and that one's an Iraqi.
Right.
They're the only two Iraqi.
So I've had an Iraqi.
Yeah, but you can have a Mahi.
Yeah.
Best thing of all, the dates are so sweet and tasty out of this world compared to dates in the supermarket.
Winton Strata might be better than Hobbit because you might be a bit cool.
For me, I'd be going for these 1, 2, 3, 5, and I don't think that's as good. But
No, well they're past their best to be quite honest. Yeah. They're better when they're a bit firmer. And so we're very late in the year. We have sold out of some varieties. So Carlos is finished.
okay, yeah.
Namishi, we've only got some for tasting. We haven't got any for sale anymore. The Gal down the bottom there, that's first time it's fruited. Very dry dated when you pick it, and not much flavour sweetness. You get a nutty sort of a texture to it, which is people like that. Not so sweet, but a bit more chewy and a bit of a nutty flavour. It's not as moist. I'd be more confident about that one than I would be.
Yeah, it is dry.
They're fairly dry, so they should be all right. So they're $4 a packet.
Yeah.
I think they'd be safer.
I just like to take some home to parents and mother.
I think they'd be
She'd appreciate
safer.
it.
I think they would be safer.
Right.
if you take them.
So I'll
They're
take
not as
those
moist.
in the hope that they. But the
I
probably
think they'll be all right because I think their moisture content's getting down around that 20%.
I would say the biggest problem might be me actually. I get down the road and I'm a bit hungry. I might start raiding them anyway. So we'll work on those two that I can take.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll
I think
last.
so. Rather than the softer,
Cordry and
Kadrori. So they're an Iraqi variety. Iraq. They're quite nice. I mean, if you started with that, and they're quite nice dates.
Okay, yep, sounds good.
Yeah.
And what other ones can I have?
Well, everything else is pretty soft. But
I'll be using them tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, you could have these vegetables if you want to eat something.
That's
You
a
wanna
big
eat-
variety one, is it? That's,
Yeah. You could eat
Med-
that tonight. You
medjool.
could eat that next couple of days.
Yeah. I'll probably go on tonight. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll make up a video of my travels, and I'd like to put some of this stuff in with the video, and that'll go onto the internet.
Of course, no problem from our point of view.
Yeah. So
It's good publicity, so
yeah, and it'll all be positive. I don't
Yeah.
believe in sort of putting stuff on the net
negative,
that is negative or
No.
criticises anyone or
Yeah.
is political or
no.
anything like that.
No,
I don't do
that's-
any of that sort of stuff.
May, June, the start of the tourist season.
May, okay.
May and June, yeah. That's when we've really got everything available. Sometimes, and if we have a few people, we often sit down here and have a date tasting and a bit of a chat and that sort of thing.
The palms are hand pollinated to improve yields.
Well, this is all stuff you're telling me. It's something I didn't know anything about.
So what I've done, I've cut the sheaths, it's called a spays.
Oh, well, I get pricked out of me. My own silly fault.
So this,
Arno's wall has become an institution in Winton. The front of Arno's place. That is a wall press. Many years ago I met Arno and he said to me that everything in the wall had a meaning. Unfortunately, it escapes me. Arno has since passed away, but his legacy lives on. Much of the things in the wall came from the local tip. Perhaps Arno was the greatest collector of all time. Arno had an opal mine at Opalton, south of Winton. The footage here is only a part of what has been built. There are other walls inside this outside wall. A stationary engine. A painted Eureka flag. A nail box. An air compressor. Part of an old concrete mixer. Two motorcycles. A massive geared drive. A radiator fan. Another motorcycle, a lawnmower, and bedhead. With a last look at Arno's wall, it is time to end this video. I hope you found it interesting. The next video will be set around Richmond with the terrifying Connosaurus.